years to achieve in his career when nobody knew what to do with CM Punk. Whoever thought he would go that far only to lose the championship to The Rock, and now Brock Lesnar is on a win streak and seemingly seems to be unstoppable, and I hate the idea of how Brock Lesnar seems to be unstoppable. The thing is, Brock Lesnar is not unbeatable. You would think The Undertaker, if anyone, was looked at as someone who was unbeatable throughout the last 2 decades. The Undertaker would be the one who was looked at as being unbeatable. Brock Lesnar can be beat, and he's been beat by a few of the biggest names in professional wrestling, like Kurt Angle. A lot of people have beaten Brock Lesnar, even the Big Show. So Brock Lesnar is not unstoppable. It's just WWE are putting him over because he's a former UFC champion, and that's where they believe ratings lie now, and where the conversation is coming from on social media, and that really frustrates me with how much of an Undertaker fan I have been for most of my wrestling life. Where I watched wrestling, The Undertaker's definitely been with my top 5 favorite superstars, and I consider The Undertaker one of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest superstar of all time, because who else has had a legacy in professional wrestling that comes anywhere near in comparison to The Undertaker's? I mean, you can go on for forever when trying to compare someone else's legacy in professional wrestling to the legacy of The Undertaker. There's nobody quite like The Undertaker, and there never will be again. And to say that someone has a legacy even near the comparison of The Undertaker's legacy would be a statement of ludicrousness, because there's nobody who has a legacy quite like The Undertaker's. He's given us so much, and the contributions of The Undertaker will never be forgotten. Now, there are 2 possible scenarios for The Undertaker's return. This is what I'm looking at for The Undertaker's return. He'll either return to go into the Hall of Fame, which is the obvious one, or he'll return for one more match for the title, win the title, and retire on top. Those are the only 2 obvious explanations I have and come up with for The Undertaker returning. I don't see The Undertaker returning in any other capacity because he's done it all. The only title The Undertaker has never won in his career, the only 2 titles, are the United States Championship and the Intercontinental title from a singles wrestler's perspective, and he does not want the Intercontinental title or the United States title, nor does a fan want to see him return to be Intercontinental or United States Champion. If The Undertaker's going to win a title, you would want it to be the title with how far he's come in his career. So nobody wants to see that. The Undertaker has no reason to return now. He doesn't even have a reason to return to defend his streak every year at WrestleMania. So the only reason The Undertaker could have to possibly return is to avenge his loss to Brock Lesnar, with Brock Lesnar being the defending champion going into the match and losing to The Undertaker, and a few weeks after that, The Undertaker walks out and leaves the title to be determined in a tournament like we have seen many top names do over the years. I mean, everybody's been given a distinction in professional wrestling. Ric Flair, the former 16-time champion, Hulk Hogan being undefeated at SummerSlam, everybody, The Rock defeating 3 generation leaders at WrestleMania. The Undertaker needs a distinction, and if it's not the WrestleMania undefeated streak, which lasted over 2 decades and made headlines when it finally ended this year at WrestleMania in the Superdome, I'll never forget the reaction of the over 75,000 fans. I really felt for you guys when I saw your reactions on video footage. It was unbelievable. Nobody could grasp the idea of how Brock Lesnar came from out of nowhere after being gone for 8.5 years, comes back, ends the Undertaker streak at WrestleMania, and goes on to win the championship almost immediately at SummerSlam the following August. I mean, it was terrible how they did it. And the reaction of wrestling fans, the over 75,000 of you in the Superdome, no disrespect to Hulk Hogan calling it the Silverdome, but the thing is, I'll never forget the reaction of all the fans in the Superdome, and you know how you all felt about The Undertaker having his streak end at the hands of Brock Lesnar. I wanted it to be a bigger star, and I think I speak for everybody when I say that you all wanted it to be a bigger star like The Rock or Stone Cold Steve Austin. I would have accepted it more if it would have been someone like The Rock, and you may be saying to yourself, I mean, The Rock was never there, so why should The Rock be given the distinction of ending the Undertaker streak at WrestleMania? The Rock has beaten The Undertaker before, and it is what it is. And I mean, The Rock is very entertaining when it comes to cutting a promo. He's an actor. He's been involved with both professional wrestling and entertainment for a number of years. For over 10 or 15 years, The Rock has been involved with entertainment. So he knows what it takes to cut a promo, and he knows what it takes to make a storyline entertaining. So why not The Rock? Why not Stone Cold Steve Austin for one more match? Why not Hulk Hogan? I mean, all these legends are under contract with WWE, and you can kind of make an exception every time WrestleMania rolls around. The Undertaker looks at himself as being unbeatable at WrestleMania, and put him in the ring against someone like The Rock or Hulk Hogan, someone he's worked with over the years, someone who knows The Undertaker, not someone like Brock Lesnar who's defeated The Undertaker every time they have stepped in the ring. And that's really the only logical explanation as to why I can come up with. They gave it to Brock Lesnar because Brock Lesnar has beaten The Undertaker every time they have previously wrestled for the title. And it would make perfect sense if Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker wrestled one more time for the title at WrestleMania 31. I guess it was because The Undertaker had never defeated Brock Lesnar and they gave Brock Lesnar one more win, having him go like 4-0 or something against The Undertaker over the years, with The Undertaker streak coming to an end at the hands of the former UFC champion, and it went on to make headlines. It was very disrespectful to The Undertaker's legacy to have it end that way, and I don't even think The Undertaker wanted it to go that way. They blamed it on a lot of reasons. They blamed it on the concussion. They blamed it on how The Undertaker wanted to slow his career down, how he was basically considered retired. They came up with every excuse in the book, but the only excuse that I can come up with is because of the name Brock Lesnar established outside of professional wrestling, and because Brock Lesnar is Brock Lesnar, and Brock Lesnar wants everything handed to him on a silver platter, and that is just disrespectful to the legacy of The Undertaker's career. If certain wrestlers can be given certain accolades to take with them into the Hall of Fame, I said it many times prior to the streak ending, The Undertaker should have taken his streak with him into the Hall of Fame. And now that he's not going to be taking his streak with him into the Hall of Fame, and he'll go into the Hall of Fame for being 21-1, because I can't see The Undertaker wrestling at WrestleMania for anything else, only the title, probably one more time in his career. If it's not the streak, then I guess The Undertaker's previous accomplishments in his career and every opponent that he faced and every opponent that he defeated, from the Great Gonzalez to Superfly Jimmy Snuka to Kevin Nash to King Kong Bundy to Shawn Michaels to Triple H to Randy Orton to John Cena, all those contributions will be what The Undertaker goes into the Hall of Fame for. Who would induct The Undertaker into the Hall of Fame? Probably someone like Kane, or someone who's had a revolutionary force behind The Undertaker's success in professional wrestling, maybe even Vince McMahon himself. If McMahon would induct Stone Cold Steve Austin, he probably would go as far as to induct The Undertaker, with how much money The Undertaker's made him over the years and how much publicity WWE has gotten and how much conversation The Undertaker has created, let alone the conversation we hear about The Undertaker now on social media. It's been about The Undertaker. It's been about really 5 top names in WWE for the last 30 years, and The Undertaker certainly is within the top 3, if not top 5, greatest and most talked about superstars of all time. So if McMahon can induct Steve Austin, he'll probably go as far as to induct The Undertaker too, with how much The Undertaker's done for him over the years. He actually left WrestleMania 30 with The Undertaker after he had the concussion, and The Undertaker had to go in for an examination, a thorough examination. And the interesting thing about the Brock Lesnar storyline now in WWE is that Paul Heyman keeps bringing up the idea of The Undertaker streak coming to an end at the hands of Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 30. It's almost as if WWE are giving it away that we'll see The Undertaker again at some time. Nobody has seen or heard from The Undertaker. I thought we were going to see The Undertaker as early as SummerSlam, with him coming back to assist John Cena and retaining the title possibly against Brock Lesnar. But with Brock Lesnar having so much momentum off the victory over The Undertaker, to have him lose to John Cena or have him lose to anybody this early after defeating The Undertaker would have completely defeated the purpose of ever having him defeat The Undertaker at WrestleMania 30. They had to do something to follow up from Brock Lesnar defeating The Undertaker and obviously giving him the title and having him be the first superstar to hold the new undisputed WWE World Heavyweight Championship was the obvious thing to do. And I don't see Brock Lesnar's reign ending anytime soon. Even though Lesnar's having a rematch with John Cena at the Night of Champions pay-per-view, I don't see Lesnar dropping the title. If anything, Lesnar will get out of this match as a result of a disqualification. He'll squandle his way out of this match, and he'll go on to defend the title against bigger names than John Cena, giving John Cena something else to do in a feud with probably a mid-card superstar until John Cena's time to become a 16-time champion rises again, because that time is not now, and I think we have a better chance of seeing something like Brock Lesnar versus Batista leading up to the Brock Lesnar-Undertaker rematch, which could happen as early as WrestleMania 31. And with Dave Batista's rumor of return being a big conversation in professional wrestling now, that would be cool to see Dave Batista versus Brock Lesnar for the first time ever. It's been a match over 10 years in the making. We've waited a decade nearly to see Dave Batista versus Brock Lesnar in a WWE ring. Let's get going with that. Let's get away from Brock Lesnar versus John Cena and this whole idea of John Cena being depressed. We know that John Cena lost the title to Brock Lesnar. We know that John Cena lost to The Rock. We get the idea of John Cena being depressed. I just think it's been overkill, this idea of John Cena being depressed. And I mean, John Cena has had difficulty battling with depression over the years in professional wrestling. So many of the fans hate him. So many of the fans like him. It's a very diverse reaction when it comes to John Cena. I'm just tired of having this idea thrown in our faces all the time of John Cena being depressed. If he's depressed, we get it. We kind of need to get away from that. And to say that John Cena will almost immediately become a 16-time champion because there's nobody else to give that distinction to, and nobody is nowhere near a 16th title reign in their career, will be just jumping to a conclusion. I think Brock Lesnar is going to somehow get out of this, and he's going to go on to face people like Dave Bautista and The Undertaker down the road and have a meaningful reign as champion, especially after having waited 2 years to be champion. To have it end this quick would kind of be an act of disrespect, in my opinion, towards Brock Lesnar with everything that Brock Lesnar has done. Who I see taking the title away from Brock Lesnar, an obvious suggestion would be The Undertaker, and that's one of the biggest reasons why I'm doing this video blog. Given the history of The Undertaker and Brock Lesnar, The Undertaker is my top pick to take the title away from Brock Lesnar, and if not The Undertaker, someone like Dave Bautista, because Dave Bautista versus Brock Lesnar is a match waiting to happen, and those are the words of Dave Bautista himself. Brock Lesnar versus Dave Bautista has apparently been a match waiting to happen on pay-per-view for the last decade, and still hasn't happened. And I think Dave Bautista returned a little bit too early, in my opinion. I think WWE somewhere along the way realized it was too early for Dave Bautista to return, and they were going to try to give us Brock Lesnar versus Dave Bautista a little bit too early with nearly no promotion, with Dave Bautista just winning the Royal Rumble, Brock Lesnar possibly winning the title as early as Elimination Chamber after entering himself into the chamber match. We would have had no promotion for this match, and what it would have came down to is John Cena versus The Rock would have had more promotion than Dave Bautista versus Brock Lesnar ever would have. So with Dave Bautista now gone away back to Hollywood to do some things outside of WWE, they're giving it time to build up, and when the time is right, we will see Dave Bautista versus Brock Lesnar. But in order for that to happen, Brock Lesnar has to get past John Cena, and in order for this Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar match to happen, Brock Lesnar would have to keep the title, giving The Undertaker a reason to come back for WrestleMania 31. Brock Lesnar would have to be champion, like it or not, until WrestleMania 31. And I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to go on a record for saying that it will happen at WrestleMania 31, and it will be for the championship. And that may be looked at as a nuts prediction. In the same